Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live and the weekly roundup of organ live streams, concerts, and recitals for the week of March 5th, May 5th to May 12th. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching. We have a great lineup of younger music, younger organist, older organist, sacred music programs, and more innovative programs coming up for you this week. So I'm very happy to tell you about it. Before we go any further, let me remind you first. Hold on a second. I need to adjust this photo. Let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please click the like the video button. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click subscribe and hit the notification button. And if you're watching us on any of our other platforms, we're very happy that so many of you like our videos. We'd be even happier if you would follow us or subscribe to us on those other platforms too, if that's where you watch us. And those are X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. Okay. So now let's get down to the business of telling you all about the different recitals we have coming up for you this week. The first of which will be just a little bit later today. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon in Europe here, which makes it about 10:30 in the morning, I think, Eastern Daylight Time. And the first of these live streams will be coming up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time. So let me put up the photograph of the organist if I have it. I always like to give you that so you can see who we're talking about. And this one is William Lupton. Tuesday, May 6th, St. James Cathedral, Toronto, live streams William Lupton of Huron University and St. Martin in the Fields Church, London, Ontario, at 1 o'clock Toronto time. That will be at 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast and at 7 o'clock in the evening here in Europe. We give you the organ specs and the YouTube link to get to the St. James Cathedral Toronto streaming page on YouTube. William Lupton has been around. He's been the chapel organist and director of music at Huron University in Ontario since 1995. He also teaches theology there. And he's been the chief organist and music director at St. Martin in the Fields since 2010. He's also the president of the Royal School of Church Music Canada. So he's something of a esteemed figure. The organ has 87 ranks, 67 speaking stops, 4 manuals, and 6 divisions, 5,101 pipes. It was most recently rebuilt in 1976 by L.I. Phelps and Associates. So if you're looking for a live stream already starting out today, well, you've got one. And then tomorrow on Wednesday, there are several organ live streams going on, a couple of which, at least one of which I think is really interesting. And it's the first one that I'm going to tell you about. Wednesday, May 7th, Glasgow University Chapel live streams the very active Angelique from St. Andrew's Wesley United Church in Vancouver, Canada, to play the Henry Willis organ. Angelique Poe is she's the director of music and organist at this church in Vancouver. But when you find out what activities she's been involved in, she's very active. She's especially active with premiering new works. Works by the world premiere of David Millard's Requiem with the Vivaldi Chamber Choir. That was in 2022. She was also involved with trombonist Jeremy Berkman at the Vancouver Pro Musica's Sonic Boom in 2021, where she premiered 10 new works written for trombone and organ by British Columbia composers. and she's done a number of other concerts like this and collaborated with other contemporary composers. She also does some composing herself for small ensembles and art songs. She is, and she's active in things like the Royal Canadian College of Organists in Vancouver. Sorry about that. Someone always tries to call me while I'm doing a live stream. The chapel organ is a Henry Willis organ, but it's Henry Willis III, and it was built in 1927 and more or less completely refurbished by Harrison and Harrison of Durham in 2005. So I would not want to miss that particular one. Now that live stream is on. Let me make sure I think I told you the time. I'm not sure I gave you the specific time. It's usual afternoon time. It's 2:10 in the afternoon European time, which is 8:10 in the morning on the East Coast, 5:10 in the morning on the West Coast, and about 11 o'clock at night in Australia, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So you can adjust to whichever of those times suit you. But probably if you're not in Europe or Australia, well, no, you could get up early on the East Coast, and I think it would be worth doing. Almost simultaneous with that, though, there is another concert. Well, there are two other concerts actually almost simultaneous with them. And here's another interesting young organist here. Maybe not as young as Angelique Poe. Wednesday, May 7th, Temple Church, London, live streams Emmanuel Duperrey, the French organist from Notre-Dame de l'Espérance in Villemomble, France, playing the Harrison and Harrison organ. Emmanuel Duperrey he has done recitals around in a lot of places. One of his claims to fame is a transcription that he's done of Paul Ducas's The Sorcerer's Apprentice for organ, which apparently a lot of people like to play. He went to the Conservatoire in Paris. That was like 30 years ago, so he's a grown up. The Harrison and Harrison organ is a 4-manual organ which includes 3 32-feet stops, which means something if you know about organs. I mean, those are huge pipes. It was originally built for a ballroom in Scotland, and then they brought it down by train to London and installed it there. It was most recently dismantled and refurbished once again by Harrison and Harrison at their workshop in Durham about a decade ago. Next up, among this week's organ recitals is one that I don't have a lot to tell you about. Queen's College, Oxford has restarted its series of weekly live streams. This week, it's James Perkins from the Berkhamstead School, and this is going to be at the same time as the other two live streams from Glasgow University Chapel and from the Temple Church London. So and we have no information about James Perkins whatsoever, or what he's going to be playing, or anything about the organ yet. But next week, I promise I will have dug up some more research about that particular opportunity. Now, also on Wednesday, we have one more. So there's a lot. This is like 4 live streams on Wednesday. We have, and I'm going to tell you about it. It's an organ recital, but it's not really an organ recital. It's an organ concert. Artbene live streams an organ, saxophone, and guitar concert from the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow on Wednesday, May 7th at 7 in the evening European time. There will be an organ being played by Yulia Ikonikova, but it's mostly, there's going to be a saxophone ensemble and a guitarist who's Yamaha artist Nikita Nedelko, and then a saxophone soloist, Ivan Dima, who'll be playing both soprano, alto, and baritone saxophones. They'll be playing Bach, Handel, Rodrigo, Piazzolla, and others, including a piece by Ivan Dima himself, the soloist. But it's a saxophone concert accompanied by the guitar and the organ. Some of the more interesting pieces, they'll do Handel's Royal Fireworks with saxophones, Bach's Dorian Toccata, and Piazzolla's Tango Etudes. So you might want to check that out. Then on Friday, Glasgow University Chapel is going to be live streaming yet another concert with this guy who I think is a really cool guy. So you might want to check this concert out, because this is what they call a celebrity concert. And this is the celebrity. His name is Christopher Herrick. Friday, May 9th, Glasgow University Chapel hosts a celebrity organ recital with the well-traveled concert organist and recording artist, Christopher Herrick. That'll be at 7 in the evening European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast in the afternoon, 10 in the morning. Christopher Herrick is not a church organist. He has been a concert organist for the last 40 years. He's traveled all over the world. He's a real showman. He makes contact with his audiences and establishes a rapport with them. So this should be a really enjoyable concert. And it won't just be a half an hour, 45 minutes. It's an evening's concert. He has recorded over 50 CDs on the Hyperion label, which is sort of, the coin of the realm when it comes to organ recordings. So I can commend that to you if you're asking, well, John, which one what do you think is going to be one of the best? This one, and Angelique Poe will also be a really good one. But this is not one to miss if you want to really enjoy a showman playing the organ, a concert. And we continue to move along with one of our weekly recitals that we always have, that you can always count on. It's Canon Martin Green from St. Paul's Episcopal. Canon Martin Green is one of the most articulate and engaging organists I know of. He knows how to explain what he's playing and why he's playing in terms which do not leave you behind in a cloud of musicological dust. And he's playing at St. Paul's Cathedral as usual, St. Paul's Cathedral, San Diego. So that's 1 o'clock Friday, Pacific Daylight Time, 4 o'clock on the East Coast, and 10 in the evening in Europe. If you're looking for an evening concert, again, we don't know what he's going to be playing, but he always has an interesting selection of older and newer works and European and American composers. And it's great the way he presents it and describes it. It's the oldest organ in the San Diego, Southern California area. It was originally an Aeolian Skinner pipe organ installed in 1969, Opus 1495, and then it was completely rebuilt by Quimby Pipe Organs in 2012, Opus 68. It has 4 manuals, 98 stops, 86 ranks, 115 draw knobs, and 4,933 pipes. It's not kidding around. Okay. Now we follow that up on Saturday with another more of a concert organist. And there can be a real difference between some of these organists, those who are concert organists and those who are church organist doing concerts. It's not the same thing at all. So this next one is a really interesting another one of these really interesting showmanship kind of concerts. Svetlana Bereznaya, one of Russia's top organists and musicians, plays her version of Music for an Italian Holiday in the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow's live stream on Saturday, May 10th at 7 in the evening European time. She went to the Gnesin Academy of Music like everybody else, studying piano, and then she did postgraduate studies in organ and the harpsichord, and also did some training at the Brabants Conservatory in the Netherlands. She's done a lot of playing at all the top venues like the Moscow Conservatory, the Tchaikovsky Concert Hall, Mariinsky Theater. She's got a page of her own on the Mariinsky Theater page. But she's also played at cathedrals around Europe, in Paris, in New York, Vienna, Brussels, places like that. She's recorded 24 albums, including 16 CDs on the Kondratian Classical Recordings label, which is a big label in Russia. Anyway, not only that, she's the artistic director, resident organist, and a pianist for an entire orchestra, the North Caucasian State Philharmonic. So she's something. She'll be playing Vivaldi, Albinoni, Galuppi, Piazzolla, and others. That the kind of music she thinks goes with a holiday in Italy. There's some Pergolesi, organ sonata in F major, Vivaldi concerto in F major, Baldassari, Galuppi, Albinoni, Giovanni Morandi, 3 or 4 pieces by Astor Piazzolla, and a number of these pieces are her own transcriptions of the music. So I think this will be this promises to be a really interesting organ recital live stream, among others going on this week. And I think we have just one more organ live stream to tell you about, if I am not mistaken. And I do not think I'm mistaken. And this one, it's a very interesting guy. It's David Tabakaru. And I pronounce it in the way French people would, because I believe he's French, although he may also be partly Swedish. I don't generally look into the personal lives of these artists, but when I tell you more about him, I think you'll understand why I say that. Sunday, May 11th, Saint Eustache Church in Paris, live streams organist David Tabakaru playing Franck, Vierne, and Duruflé on the magnificent Van den Heuvel organ, one of the largest in France, at 5 in the evening European time. This is at Saint Eustache Church in the heart of Paris. I was there on Sunday for their usual weekly concert. It's always at 5 in the evening European time, which is 11 in the morning on the East Coast and 8 in the morning on the West Coast. And again, I was amazed that there were like 300 people there. It's packed. There's not an empty seat in the house. They sort of say half the church is devoted to it. The chairs are all set up around the organ, and you're sitting in front of the organ, and then the pipes are just above you on the left. You get immersed in the sound. Anyway, because so many of these other live streams I'm telling you about, you'll be in a big cathedral and there are 20 people there, but not so for Saint Eustache Church. And he'll be playing César Franck's Pièce Héroïque, Louis Viern's an extract from his first symphony, part 4, the Allegro Vivace, and Maurice Duruflé's extracts from his suite Opus 5, a Sicilian and a toccata. And on this Van den Heuvel organ, which has 101 stops, 5 manuals, 7,952 pipes. If you want to know more about that organ, what you want to do is go to our YouTube page, and in the there's a separate section for interviews. I think it's called All-Star Live Stream Interviews or something. There's an interview, a live stream that I did with Thomas Hospital, who's one of the resident organists at Saint Eustache Church, 35 minutes, and he took us up in the loft and explained how the architecture of the church really works together with the organ, et cetera, et cetera. Talked about all the mechanics of the organ. If you know about organs, it's a pleasure and although he's French, he speaks impeccable English. It's just a pleasure to go over all of that detail and learn some more things, especially about architecture and acoustics, which I didn't know. And if you don't know about the organ, well, it's what the French would call une leçon. It's a lesson. You want to know everything about, you need to know about an organ, well, he tells you to about it. Now, David, this guy, David Tabakaru, born in Paris, he's only in 1997, so he's only about, he's about 27 years old, 27, 28. But he was living in Sweden, in Stockholm. And he first started becoming acquainted with the organ at the German church in in Stockholm. And then he moved to Sundsvall, which is a town, well, it's further north than Stockholm, and kept studying the organ there, and eventually got so good at it that they named him a cultural ambassador for Sundsvall. Then he went up to Piteå University, which is even farther north, and studied organ there, as well as choir direction and orchestra direction and liturgy and the piano and all of that. So then he went back to France and went to the Conservatory in Strasbourg. And from there, he jumped back to Paris, where he's been studying with Olivier Latry and Thomas Hospital, the guy that I did the live stream with. So this is one of Thomas Hospital's students who, and they sometimes bring in their students, but this is not a student who, like just wandered into the Paris Conservatory. No, this guy has been, rowing the hoe of an org for a number of years and has experience with 2 cultures and 2 countries. So I just, half the time I'm in Stockholm, not in Paris, the way I am now. So I'm sure to attend this one, and maybe I'll even do a live stream before or after. Maybe I'll even see if I can get a chance to do a live stream interview with David Tabakara, because he's such an interesting person, culturally speaking, close to my own heart, because I too share the French and the Swedish culture as big parts of my life. Folks, that is what we have for you this week in terms of organ recitals and concerts and live streams. There may be one additional live stream that I didn't get a chance to tell you about due to a last-minute technical glitch here in my office, and I will bring you up to date about it. There will be a another celebrity concert on Friday night, but I'll do a separate notice about that for you. Let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, click the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the subscribe and notification button. And if you're watching on any of our other platforms, we're very happy so many of you like our videos. We'd be even happier if you would also follow us and or subscribe to us on those other platforms, which are X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. I hope that one, more, or any of these organ recital and organ concert live streams inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a good time. And I will be back at 6:30 p.m. in about an hour and a half European time to give you the roundup of this week's chamber music action. And there's almost a dozen different chamber music pieces to tell you about: string quartets and piano and harp and very conventional classic recitals, and then very modern innovative recitals. So there's a lot going on. So if you want to come back at 6:30 European time, which will be 12:30 on the East Coast and 9:30 in the morning on the West Coast, I will be here live streaming again, and I'll be happy to see you then and there. If not, well, I'll see you when I see you. Ciao for now.